Your sixth sense is your superpower. And let's just, for the sake of it, shift it to the front and let it be the first sense. Let it be the leading, guiding light of your life. And really turn it up brightly. So how do you do that? Well, again, we talked about your value system. And I propose, and I hope you wrote it down, but I hope and propose that you put at the very top of your value system the number one thing: I do what I love. I choose what I love. I choose what I love. First and foremost, I choose what I love. And if you have to do something that you don't love, choose to do it with love. If you are obligated to some assignment, or you find yourself in a circumstance where you have some kind of obligation or some kind of thing to fulfill, you can at least choose to do it with love instead of resentment and bitterness and passive aggressiveness, which, by the way, you're really obvious. And I want you to know that nobody's bad vibes are ever invisible. Never. I told you earlier that the fairy tale of the intuitive life, of choosing an intuitive life, is the princess and the pea. And it was the one who said, the princess who said, what's under that mattress, and had the courage to say so. She inherited the kingdom. Well, there is the fairy tale of the fake life. The fake life is the life that you live where you're going against the grain of who you are are ignoring your vibes. You're completely in distress energetically. You're in energetic chaos about it, because you know what I mean. You can never get away with making choices that don't respect and honor your heart and really be in a congruent energy. It seeps out into your field. It reeks and ripples into the world around you. So that vibe, there's also a fairy tale. And the name of that fairy tale is called The Emperor's New Clothes. So if you remember that fairy tale, the emperor was a really insecure guy. So he surrounded himself with people who flattered him all the time. And if you didn't flatter him and didn't reassure him that he was the ultimate best, he punished you. So a couple of really witty people showed up in his life, and they knew they were going to take advantage of this. So they said, well, you know, someone like you, so special. We have some fabric for you for clothes that only the most special people can wear. And they held it up just like this. And they said, can you see it? Because only the most special people can see it, you know. Well, he looked around, and of course he saw what you see. And the emperor said, well, yeah, I see it. Do you see it? And all the court said, yeah, I see it. Oh, it's beautiful. Lovely. Looks great on you. So the emperor says, perfect. Make me an outfit, and I want a parade, and I want to know who's special in my kingdom, who can see the clothes. I want to know who's special and who's not. So we're going to have a parade. So the word got out. The emperor's going to have a parade. He's going to be in his new clothes. And, you know, not everybody can see them, and not unless you're special. So all the dogs in the kingdom were getting organized. We're going to see. Do you think you'll see? I'll see, but probably you see. So off comes the parade. The emperor is marching down completely buck naked. Everybody's saying, do you see his new clothes? Oh, yes, he's beautiful. Do you see his new clothes? Magnificent. What color? Do you see his new clothes? One after the other. And then there was a little boy in the parade, and he pointed him out, and he said, the emperor's naked. And everybody gasped. Oh! They looked at the little boy. Emperor looked at the little boy. The little boy looked at the emperor. Everybody looked at the emperor. Everybody looked at the little boy. Everybody looked at each other. And do you know what happened? The parade went on. And that is the way the ordinary world goes. The parade goes on. And we are more obvious, but everybody's pretending that's not the truth. It's the little boy that said he's naked is your spirit, is your divine self, is your intuitive self. Because the self that is giving you guidance is the truth teller. And the truth teller is the one that reveals that everything's fake, that isn't resonating with the heart, it's not worth it. And that the big game of life is a big waste of life if you're not living authentically. It's just a charade. Now, I will have to say, as we kind of get at this point, I had the beautiful experience of working for about 5.5 years in hospice, which really is just holding people's hands until they walk to heaven, and just being with them at the part of their life as they're starting to die. And I had this one woman that was so meaningful. And as she was struggling, she said, "I'm so troubled, Sonia. I can't live with myself." And I said, "Why?" She said, "I forgot to live my life. I lived the life that everybody approved of. And I didn't live my life." She goes, "I know I'm dying, but that's not what bothers me. What's bothering me is everybody's celebrating me for living the wrong life. I was head of the PTA. I was at the school taking care of everybody. I was the first to volunteer. I did everything that won approval. But I didn't do anything that my heart wanted. My husband wanted to have us move to Italy for 6 months, and I said eventually, but we never did. She said, "My heart told me to paint, but I don't even own a box of crayons. Everybody comes and says, 'I love you and you're so wonderful,' as they know I'm dying, and I want to tell them I'm not. I'm fake. And what I did wasn't worth it. I didn't live my life." She said, "What do I do? How do I die in peace? I'm not going to not die, but I can't. I'm so troubled. How do I die in peace?" And I said, "Tell them. When people come and say goodbye, tell them. Maybe they'll listen." Well, I never heard from her again. But I did hear from her daughter several years later, and she said, "I don't know what you said, but the last 3 weeks of my mom's life were the most intimate, most meaningful, most real moments of our entire relationship." And she told me to follow my dreams, and she was too chicken to follow hers because she was too busy getting approval. And that's what I want you to really think about now. You can stay safe and get approval, but it's an empty reward. It's way overrated. And there's nothing in the end that really allows you to feel like you had a meaningful life. So this is a point where I want you to really take this in. How much are you living for approval versus living full out? How much are you aware that how you live affects everyone else? And if they're rewarding you for the fake life, then they're also realizing that vibration is what I should do. I should live a fake life too. And we'll all live a fake life that has no oxygen, that has no spontaneity, that has no fun, no fire, no truth, and no brilliance. Because the spirit in you, the intuitive side of you, isn't a thing you do. It's not even an extra sense. It's your center. It's the light in you, and it lights up. Everybody lights up. And that's what an extraordinary life is. So don't forget to live your life. Just don't. Just care enough to not forget, to not buy into. See this? Only the best people get this reward. Flattery, 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 empty. So you can see, as I said in the beginning, it's an exponential shift in a different way of life, and it's joyful and wonderful, but you have to choose it. So where are you right now at this point in our experience and our joy together? Where are you aware that you're either betraying yourself, holding yourself back, playing it safe instead of playing it true, being small instead of being bold? And what are you afraid of? We'll go back to I'm afraid of and revisit that tool again. What are you so afraid of now? The one thing we cannot recapture is time. Don't waste it. It might be time for you to just put at the top of your value list that I live full out for me no matter what. Because I can tell you there's a point in time where You will be looking at the whole experience and you can say, did I live my life or did I give it away? And that's really what this particular moment in time is about. Because if you choose to live full out, it's like a roller coaster. I mean, you might be like, oh, but you will love it. You will love it. But if you stay on the baby ride, you'll get bored and you'll be boring. Sorry to say, I have to tell you, shoot the messenger, but boring. There's no excitement, there's no joy, there's no life. Live full out, and you will be someone who not only has a beautiful life, but you will be that light in, you don't know how many people's lives that they will say, you know, I had an encounter with someone. It was 2 minutes, 5 minutes conversation on a bus or in a plane or standing in line at the grocery store, and they changed my life. I don't know why. They just had such a dynamic energy that it helped me remember who I am. So the inner self, the light of who we are, is an activator. Activated in you, and it starts to light the fires in everyone else. And then you feel like you have a life that's not just meeting your needs, but it's a life of meaning, connection. It's a life of belonging. It's a life of contributing. And it's a life worth living. Got to make this clear. You choose. You choose. But don't just think of yourself, because the one thing we all share is the breath, and the breath is the spirit. That's why I call the inner self, the guiding intuitive self, the spirit, because it comes from the Greek word pneuma, which means the spirit or the breath. And it's the breath in you that animates everything. It's the breath in you that is the power to guide. So that's why. Breathe, go down the slide, and smile. Pull the curtains back. Your assignment today is to look at where have I dialed it down? Where have I turned the light off? Where have I snuffed out my fire? Who am I adapting to and I'm not being true to myself? I have to look at that and I have to say so. I have to adjust. What am I holding on to that's making me a slave? What am I so afraid of? And how long have I been afraid of it? How many weeks, months, years? Because the one thing you can't get back is time. My teacher, I had a beautiful teacher who said, the minute you feel a vibe, go for it. Don't have the pause. It's just like the game, swivel the hips. Go for it. At least go for it enough to say, I have a vibe. I have a feeling this isn't right. Something's off. Something's off. You can just say that. This isn't working. You don't have to find the answer. Just step into the fire and say, you know what? This feels so right. And I can't explain it. So that's the other tool. Never feel the need to explain. Just say, I can't yet. I can't defend this yet. I can't justify this yet. But I'm going with it because it works for me. People won't argue if you say it works for me. And if it doesn't work for them, you can say, well, I understand. I can see how that might be annoying. It does interrupt your plans. But I got to live in my own skin. It works for me, and I'll just live with it. So your life won't necessarily be smooth sailing all the time, but it'll certainly be high flying, and it will be incredibly fun. And you know, people will come back and thank you because it is truth serum. Your intuition is truth serum, and not only for your life to be a true and meaningful life, but it is contagious. It helps others reflect on their truth. It helps others begin to reflect. That's why they get uncomfortable, because they've been really, really good at avoiding the reflection. When you're believing eyes, your light actually helps everybody reflect. It's just the way it goes, but it's worth it. So revisit your priority list, revisit your values, adjust. And if you have to make some changes, I suggest the sooner the better. Don't be the person who forgot to live her life. Don't be that person. Get your crayons, get your paints, get your ticket, get your dancing shoes, get your hula hoop. Go for it. You'll never, I assure you, you'll never regret it, ever, ever, ever. Post a picture of yourself even on the community page if you can. Share. Living full out. This is my vibes, and watch it ripple across the community. It really is a joyful and infectious energy to reclaim who you are and help others do the same. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.